You're listening to Mad Men Sports, live out of Buffalo, New York. 2 out of the 3 of us in person this week. We have Diamond Dave on the phone. I'm no longer holding him. Dave, what's going on, man?
I'm back.
Kind of.
Yeah, you're halfway
Officially,
there.
Unofficially back.
I am staying safe. I'm swamped with work. I'm just making it happen like I always do, guys.
You're 1 foot in and 1 foot out, it kind of seems.
But 6 feet away.
Oh, more than 6 feet.
Yeah,
I'm social distancing.
So are we.
Well,
I want to know. I can't see.
We can't. We're so far away. We can't touch.
Zach, what's going on, man?
Not much.
See, you got something sitting on the desk there.
Chill. Not everyone knows about this yet. It's a little private.
They should, because it's beautiful.
It's a private purchase. I got to
Sam,
steal.
what do you got on the desk?
It's a private purchase. It's a MacBook. It is, a little treat yourself. A little.
That just means there's going to be better content.
And honestly.
More frequent content from Mad Men Sports.
I've literally always wanted a MacBook. I found a correctly priced one on the interweb.
You haven't bought me a gift in years, and you're buying yourself freaking MacBooks?
You're on this podcast. I haven't gotten you a gift. This is a gift every week, David.
You should start coming to podcasts, David.
Yeah.
Well, you guys should clear my schedule for me.
We tried. We even did
2
this a
days
day
in a row.
late today. We did this a day late to try to get you to come in.
Boy, was I upset.
You guys know what I do on Monday nights.
Yeah. What? Yeah. It was Sunday yesterday. Guys.
It's okay.
Corona's going nuts. All right, let's we don't want to talk about it, but let's talk about it a little bit.
All right.
It's now been pushed back to April 30th, like everything.
Yeah.
Do we have to start worrying about the Bills season starting on time?
It's going to be interesting. I mean, the administration, as I'll put it, has been very lackadaisical in terms of setting a guideline. First it was Easter, now it's April 30th. They seem to be taking a very short-term approach and just kind of prolonging it month by month, which is, I guess, a way of doing it, not necessarily the worst thing in the world. But I think that it's a possibility that it can come that we're just going month by month by month. I mean, we've already missed basically the rest of the season for the NBA. We've missed the first, 2 weeks of the MLB season. It's going to come to a time to where OTAs and rookie minicamp are starting, and they're not going to be able to meet, which is going to put them way behind the 8 ball. Luckily, we're not going to have to bring in a first-round draft pick to kind of get acclimated to the team. But you'd have
Good point, Jake.
Thanks, David. You would have to think going into June and July when training camp kind of gets going, that's when the social distancing should be lifted.
We don't know.
Hopefully. Yeah, we really don't know, and that's the scary thing. People just need to stay away from each other.
David, buddy, I know this is affecting you literally day to day. What do you think? I know it's a little too far out there to really kind of get a good grasp on it. Do you think the Bill season's start time is in jeopardy?
I think the NFL is very fortunate for the coronavirus to happen when it is. I think they have a lot of time to figure this out. Usually, they're doing the free agency right now, and they're still planning on doing the draft when they are planning on doing it. So this camp is kind of at the right time for the NFL. When this gets lifted and everything, I think the NFL is going to be bigger than it ever has because people are just itching and dying to be doing something. Well, probably a bad word to use, but they're looking to do something pretty bad.
We get you.
I think the NFL season will go on as planned. If I knew when this would end, I'd be a genius and be making us millions right now. But I would imagine this goes on probably for all of April and the beginning of May. I would think things are cleared up by June. Usually training camps start around the end of July. And it just might be the situation we're in this year. The NFL is a big money corporation. They're not going to lose a dime if they don't have to.
Yeah, and it's a very weird stance that the NFL is taking. They're almost taking a lackadaisical approach. I mean, they're not having free agents meet with teams. They're not conducting any physicals, but they're still planning to have the draft as scheduled, probably without a crowd. It seems as the only major sports league, they are
conducting business right now.
They're the only kind of company doing anything, which is very strange to me.
Look at Tom Brady. Isn't that probably earth-shattering news? It's all over the place. If this corona thing wasn't going on, that's all people would be talking about. And he hasn't even had a press conference. He hasn't even been introduced yet.
Yeah.
Like, when this clears up, like players like him, even like Josh Norman, the Bills' big free agent signing, even Phillip Rivers in Indy. There's going to be huge press conferences they can't even have right now. Like, it's hard to get excited about this kind of stuff. It's also nice to have a distraction to, like, look at your phone and not see something about Corona negative-wise or not see what the president's saying. It's nice to see a signing or life outside of this mess. At the same time, it's just like, it's also very secondary right now. And I do think the owners are taking a lackadaisical approach to the whole thing. But they're in a position where they're allowed to. They don't necessarily need to overreact or do anything right now because the NFL season doesn't really get affected until July hits. The OTAs, all of that, yeah, the rookie, sure. Drafts used to be held with nobody there anyway, so I think it's going to be okay without – I think the draft's okay to go on without this going on. It's just going to have to be interactive or they're going to have to think outside the box a little bit. But right now, the NFL doesn't need to make a decision. I obviously, like everyone else on this podcast, I'm a huge Bills fan, so I want to see the Bills play the first week of September, and it'll be a nice distraction. And like I said, when this clears up, the NFL is going to be bigger than it ever has before because people are going to need to get away.
Yeah, and I think this is something that I was talking with Tony, our sponsor, today, Prima Pizza, corner of West Chippewa and Pearl. I was talking with him today, and he's kind of like, he's itching to get things going. Obviously, small businesses are affected and such, support your local small business, such. But listen, I think it's going to be hard for people to just turn this thing off. Like, you can't have more than 10 people together. I think it's hard to envision them starting on time right now. Because we're in March, it's not even ending until beginning of May at this point, until those guidelines. I mean, everything's constantly fluid right now. But I think it's going to be hard for people to turn this thing off. You can't have people, groups of more than 10 people right now. They're not going to go from, in May, you can have 10 people, to all of a sudden in September, you're allowed to have 70,000 people all of a sudden. I think that's something you're going to have to take in consideration. That eventually... Even when this is slowing down, the curve's flat, it's still not going to be over. It's not going to be a set date where, okay, July 18th, everyone's okay to go back outside because it's just hard to see a way where this works. We have our brother Richard Perk stuck in Peru still, and I mean, it's just there's so much going on that's so outrageous. Like, it's just, if you would have told me during the Bills season that this would be a life that we're living right now, it'd be insane. And now it's, amongst other things, the Bills season's probably in jeopardy a little bit more seriously than any of us are considering right now.
Yeah, and you may even have to look at the demographic of who's going to be at these Bills games. You may look at people who are considered a little more vulnerable because of their age or maybe an underlying health condition, kind of staying away from those large crowds, i.e. Bills games. So you may see a lot of younger... Well, I mean, there are still a lot of young people at Bills games. You just might see the predominant crowd, young people at those Bills games. It might edge out kind of long-term season ticket holders and things of that nature.
At least, as I said here at the end of March, I have a really hard time seeing 70,000 people meeting in one spot.
I don't even know if I want to renew my season tickets.
You've been a little skittish as we come closer. He's like, should we be renewing? Should we be renewing?
I heard they...
Till the end of time, we're renewing.
They pushed that back until May.
Yeah.
Payments, that is.
Yeah, they got an email today. I mean, yeah, good on them for being able to be self-aware.
Yeah, thank you for that social awareness.
Yeah, some mild social awareness.
For once.
But exactly. But there has been some moves, like last week we talked about, we kicked around a lot of things like Stephon Diggs, AJ Klein, Mario Addison.
I wasn't able to voice my opinion on all those. Can I do it real quick?
Yeah. We'll give it a little 5 diamonds section right here for Dave. Let's see what you got, buddy.
Stephon Diggs, amazing. You can't ask for much more than that. I mean, at this point, Josh Allen, the pressure's on you because you got to get this shit right. You didn't have a bad year last year. I was a big fan of Josh Allen. Still am a big fan. But the team's putting in maybe the top 3 receiving core in the league and a very good young running back. We still have some holes to fill, and I think our offensive line has gotten much better with the guy we'll talk about soon. So, I mean, all this Diggs thing tells me is Allen, like, in the scene in the Crucible when they're putting the bricks on, I shouldn't have used that reference because I don't know his name, but they're putting the bricks on, they're putting the pressure on. Allen, this is your time to shine. And the thing is we'll know after this year. We'll know whether he's the guy or whether he's not the guy. I hope he's the guy. Rattle off some other phrase that we signed.
Mario Addison.
I'm okay with it.
Would you rather have him than Shaq?
I still want a better pass rusher. but he's a good depth guy.
He had 39 sacks in the past 4 years.
Yeah, well, he's averaging about 10 sacks a season. You want more than that?
I want a guy that scares opposing offenses.
I think he does.
He should.
Zach has been very vocal on that he's been that outstanding player on such a bad Carolina Panthers defense. So I think
I do think there is good news. AJ Klein is an absolute freaking stud. AJ Klein is going to be. I think we might have the best linebacker core in the league. We have to sign Milano, but I think Klein is going to fill the void better than Lorenzo Alexander.
I wouldn't go as far as saying AJ Klein is an absolute stud. I mean, he was a consistent starter with the New Orleans Saints, and he was with the Carolina Panthers. He played in all 15 games last year. He did have 69 combined tackles as an outside linebacker.
Very nice.
So he's not putting up generational player numbers, but he's going to be a great addition and definitely a step up from a very old Lorenzo Alexander.
Just scratching me.
What's that, David?
I had to yell at my cat. Sorry, guys.
What's her name?
Diamond Cat Guy.
Nala.
Shout out to Nala.
He's the Tiger King. Diamond
Exotics.
Yeah.
That sounds like a fucking stripper.
Can I say something about Tiger King?
You can say whatever you want.
This is a free podcast, my guy.
I hate that fucking show. I'm sorry to swear, but I hate that show.
Why do you hate it? Let's talk about it.
Pop culture references. I like.
I don't want to kill fans here. I know it's the talk of the town right now. I think it's just white trash glorifying white trash. I'm sorry.
Well, that is.
I think Talk of the Town's another strip club. Got a lot of strip club references out of Diamond Dave.
Dave is the king of strip club references. Don't let Susie know.
I've been to one or two in my day. Yes.
All right, that's not important. Well, this is a PG podcast, guys.
I know I'm gonna have to put the explicit.
Tiger King. Oh, what's next, Professor Zach? Whatever they call you.
All right, well, let's get into our other topics. This is more our real topics now. We kind of kicked around a lot of
bullshitted for 10 minutes.
Yeah, hey, I'll take it. Yeah, sometimes we're too structured. I've been listening to other Bills podcasts.
Jake, what's the weather like tomorrow? I always ask you that when I'm sitting next to you.
I don't know, man.
Who cares, man? All right, so the Bills did sign Darryl Williams, offensive tackle. He's 27 years old. By the time the season starts, he will be 28. Brandon Beane drafted him in the second round as a first round, maybe? No, second round. As a Carolina Panther. Jake, what do we got? What do you think of?
Yeah, so Darryl Williams is an interesting pick.
Fourth round, excuse me.
He is on a 1-year, $6 million deal with a $3 million signing bonus. He's an interesting player. He's had some issues with injuries. He played, I think, about 75% of the snaps last year and played in one game in 2018. He was an all-pro lineman in 2016, I believe, where he played right guard. Zach, if I'm not mistaken.
I think it's 17.
17?
Let me just double check. Yeah, 2017.
True.
Right tackle.
Right tackle. So there's been a lot of talk of the town of him struggling on the inside and really performing well on the outside and tackle. So it's going to be interesting to see where Sean McDermott places him. Is he going to kind of have a competition with Cody Ford, or are they going to work some quasi deal with Quentin Spain at right guard? It remains to be seen, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. He definitely seems like a tackle in this system. Nothing more, probably nothing less. It'll be I think it's a good push battle. I can't see Waddle coming back, which is a shame. I know he's a fan favorite. He's got a couple rings, maybe one ring, and his wife is a big Twitter Bills fan, so that's cool as always. But I just see him being a tackle, pushing the envelope in this team as a tackle. They have Long in the interior, Spain at left guard, Feliciano right guard, Morse. They have a good, solid core. Obviously, we all know, he blocked me on Twitter. Cody Ford was the weakest link on the offensive line. That's not a slight on him. I think offensive tackle is one of the hardest positions to get your footwork right in the NFL. But I think that getting someone like Darryl Williams in here, getting him to get in the heat of battle, they know what he is. Like we were just talking about, shortened off seasons. You know who these guys are. You drafted them. You know what their strengths. You know what their weaknesses are. when a shortened offseason and they bring in guys like Carolina Panthers, former guys like that, you're going to have to take into account that that's going to be important long term. Bring in guys you know. This is a guy they know, whether he was in 2017 making it as a second team All-Pro, or last year where he was kind of the goat of how things worked. So, Dave, Darryl Williams, offensive tackle. I know there's not a lot of literature. What do you think, buddy?
It's the same thing I said about Diggs. It's another great move by Bean, who is pouring the pressure on Josh Allen. You're running out of excuses, buddy. Rise or shine. I mean, this guy's a starter. He's going to be starting for the Bills. Cody Ford doesn't necessarily need to start at this moment, or go to guard, one or the other, or just don't play, because this guy's a starter. He was a starter for an All-Pro quarterback at one point. You got to play this guy.
MVP even.
Mm-hmm. And it's interesting to note as well, in 2,666 snaps, he's only had 2 holding penalties, 1 false start. That goes to show that Sean McDermott is bringing in players who don't make mistakes. And I'm talking about those stupid mistakes. I mean, all last year, every time Lee Smith was on the field, it seemed like he was always false start.
It's big of you to say.
I know. I mean, I got to be critical of my dad. Doesn't mean I don't want him on this team, and I don't think he's still great. But it's really nice to know that we're getting a player who can just look to his left and watch the ball snap, which seems to be a problem sometimes with the Buffalo Bills. Not so much in the last couple of years. I do have to say, and thank God, we've really cut down our penalties from, 2 years ago? Thank God.
Absolutely. Listen, I think this is one of those moves that you've now get a clear picture of what the offensive line will look like come summer. You know, you'll see the battles kind of grow. Even if this guy is just here to push Cody Ford to be better, teach him something, whatever it is, make him pay attention more, which I don't think that's something that he lacks in. I just think that footwork's hard at the right tackle's position as well as the left tackle position. You have some of the best pass rushers in the league coming down on you off the edge, and they already have a head start because you're stuck in their stance and they're standing up. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's a hard position. I don't hate Cody Ford. This isn't a Cody Ford hate party.
Unless.
It's a maybe we can get a little something more out of Cody Ford, or we can replace him with something. He's still a second-round pick. They're not giving up on this guy. You know what I'm saying?
No, definitely.
All right. However,
not giving up on him, but we're a win-now team with
absolutely.
A very winnable. Well, we'll get to how winnable we are right now, but we're a win-now team, so it's time to get sure things in there and take advantage of this.
2-year window right now. I've never in my life, and I was born towards the end of the Super Bowl runs, I've never in my life seen the Bills in such a win-now mode. I've never in my life.
It's so good.
There's no Brady.
It's beautiful.
The team is a 66% playoff maker at this point. You know, this is a franchise on the up and up, and they see an opening with Brady in Tampa, like we discussed last week. This is win now, and it's never been more win down.
Yeah, it's really never been more apparent. I mean, going back to what was it, the 2014 Bills, that other than this complete team where I have thought the Bills had the best position to make the playoffs. But look at us now. 2 of the last 3 years, the Buffalo Bills have made the playoffs. Not general consensus, but most people believe we have our franchise quarterback. We have a stud wide receiver. We have an elite defense. We have an all-pro cornerback in Tre'Davious White. We have a really young, really talented middle linebacker in Tremaine Edmonds. We have Ed Oliver. The Bills are on the up and up, and it's so beautiful to think that we are going to be on the right side of history. We don't have to turn off our TVs mid-December because we're not playing for anything. It's beautiful to have these meaningful games in November and December and giving us something to look forward to after New Year's.
Yeah,
it is, but keep in mind, no one's ever won free agency and went on to win the Super Bowl. So we do need to have a realistic factor to this whole thing.
I wouldn't even say we won free agency. I mean,
no, Miami won it. Let them win it. Fuck
exactly. I mean, you have Stephon Diggs acquired by trade, and you got a lot of low, mid-level guys on cheap contracts.
You brought back Quentin Spain.
Yeah,
that's
contracts.
A win in free agency, I'd call it.
Exactly.
And I think the most important thing to take away from this is they were a playoff team last year, a double-digit team last year, and I think that they are much better today than they were a year ago today. And I'm not even saying it's close. I'm saying they are much better today than they were a year ago.
And we still have the entire draft
Absolutely.
And we have about 30
Not the
million
entire
in
draft.
cap.
We're missing a first.
Yeah, whatever.
But I mean, there's still room to grow. There's still room for camp competition. There's still an off season, which I'm big on getting those rookies like Ed Oliver, and back in the day, Josh Allen. I'm big on getting the rookies a full off season because they go from college to scouting to draft to thrown right into it. I'm big on getting them a full off season. This is going to be a huge year for Ed Oliver. I mean, you give a guy a full calendar year as an NFL player, they're going to be enhanced, better, and just more prepared. Look what it did to Harrison Phillips last year before he got hurt. He was one of the best players on this defense. It's inevitable that this team is going to be good. You got to get consistency out of the quarterback a little bit deeper now. You need him to play a full game. He was a big fourth quarter guy. You need him to string it along the whole game, and then we'll see what we are next time. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Actually,
tough schedule.
Just looking and Googling Buffalo Bills. Do you know Josh Allen is quarantined with Sam Darnold and Kyle Allen?
Absolutely.
They're in, I think, California working with their quarterbacks coach, Matt Lopes, and Jordan Palmer, which...
Friend of the pod.
Friend of the friend of the pod.
Friend of a pod.
Beautiful. And it's really good kind of going back to the re-signings. We re-signed Quentin Spain. We gave Jordan Poyer a contract. The Buffalo Bills bring back Isaiah McKenzie, which I'm very excited about. We signed him for...
Part of the Smurfs.
Yeah, just for another one-year deal, right?
Yeah.
Spot Track doesn't have it
just
updated.
Just a one more year spot.
Sounds like a t-shirt idea, guys.
What, Smurfs?
Yeah.
I think that's already been done. But screw it, we'll do it anyway.
We're making t-shirts now. Quarantines.
So here's the deal. I'll take it. So you got Jiggs, you got Brown, you got Beasley, you got McKenzie back, you got Andre Roberts, who's a special teams guy, and you got Duke Williams, Robert Foster, and some rookie scrub or whatever fighting to the death. This receiving core, again, and I've said this 3 times now, is leaving Josh Allen no room for error. McKenzie's obviously the weapon in this whole thing that can run around and do pretty much anything. And John Brown's pretty much the same, and he has a lighter workload now, a little less pressure on him. So Isaiah McKenzie to me was actually, I was going to say a no-brainer, but I was actually surprised he was back because I was surprised we cut him. Isaiah McKenzie's a win, an all-around win for this team. Love the move. I have nothing negative to say about any of this. The only thing I'm going to continue to say is, Josh Allen, you better be ready because we are. And so are the Bills.
Yeah, Isaiah McKenzie, the Buffalo Bills, bringing him back, probably disputedly the best gadget player in the NFL alongside Hill in New Orleans, Teddy Bridgewater, Robert Griffin III. What he brings to the table is the versatility of not knowing where he's going to line up A, not knowing where he's going to end up B.
You have to respect him.
Exactly. He has blazing speed. He has good hands, too. He had a catch percentage of 69%, and I think he only had dropped 2 balls all season, which is really good for a team that had a lot of issues with drop passes. He had 206 yards after catch, which is ridiculous. That is an average of 7.6 yards a catch, which in a team where you have Cole Beasley and John Brown, short, shifty guys, it's great to have that kind of back end as well. So, I mean, you're not going to lose anything when the talent level drops off.
Yeah, this is a very interesting move. He's a 5'8" guy that if you had told me 2 years ago that Isaiah McKenzie was going to be an integral part of Brian Dable's offense, I would have been annoyed. But I think they use him in the proper role. This isn't a guy that's like, listen, you guys have both said you love the role, you love the move, and it is a great move. However, I just don't think that this offense can afford to lose a playmaker, if that makes any sense. It's not easy to just find playmakers like Isaiah McKenzie because, now granted, they have Diggs, they have Brown, they have Beasley, they have Knox, they have Singletary. They have their stable, if you will, of guys that they're going to get the ball. But you throw McKenzie out there and you immediately get a wild card chip that, what if maybe it's his 10 rushes that he had 2 years ago with the Bills for 66 yards, or the 8 that he had last year. This is a guy that can get the ball in the backfield, the shovel passes, the backwards passes, whatever it is. He caught 27 from Josh Allen last year, 18 the year before. This guy brings a different layer. He's small. We know that. He's a Smurf. He can find those spots in the zone, sit down, and Josh Allen can underthrow him or overthrow him the ball, and we can trust Isaiah McKenzie to make a play because he's done enough to make some plays. And if it's, again, shortened off season, you're going to rather have a guy that you know rather than bringing in a random.
Exactly. And the thing that I find the most crazy is they had a chance to re-sign him, but elected not to. Organizations around the league must have not been watching tape on Isaiah McKenzie because, like I said earlier, he's one of the best gadget players in the NFL. To think that he did not receive a contract and signed back with the Buffalo Bills on a very friendly contract just goes to show that the Buffalo Bills have the greatest scouting and general manager of all time.
Yeah, I mean, you're going a little off the deep end. It's
No.
okay. Be excited. There's nothing really to be excited about else in sports right now. But let's
the little things.
Go all in on Isaiah McKenzie. I'll tell you something to be excited about. ESPN came out with their power rankings, and it's a mixed bag. You want to do 1 through 10?
Yeah. Do you want to guess who's number one? Do you want to do like a little guess?
I'm going to go with the Kansas City Chiefs Super Bowl team's going to be number one.
You know, that makes sense. I will
And
confirm.
I'm going to guess Lamar Jackson's number 2.
Perfect. Dave, who do you think is number 3?
So you said the Chiefs, the Ravens. The number 3, I'm going to say, is the Niners.
The 49ers. Then we have the Saints. Then the Packers, the Seahawks, the Titans, the Vikings, and then sitting at the number 9 spot, the Buffalo Bills. And if we're counting, that makes it only 2 AFC teams.
Hey, Jake, who's number 10?
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So yeah, that is basically, we are the 3rd ranked AFC team in the ESPN's power rankings, which is fantastic.
The next closest is 13 for the Patriots. So there's a little bit of a gap still between the Patriots and the Bills, or the Bills and the Patriots in that fact, on ESPN's brain. And listen, I would say the only thing outlandish about this whole list, and okay, we'll give Tennessee the AFC Championship because they went there last year. But Minnesota being ahead of the Bills is mind-boggling. And they even say it right here. They lose Joseph, Griffin, Waynes, Alexander, Rhodes. They don't even mention the fact that they lose Stephon Diggs. Like, that team is definitely depleted, but they're still in front of the Bills? Come on, get out of here.
And for continuity's sake, the Miami Dolphins are at the 25 spot, and the New York Jets right behind them at the 26 spot. So it's very, very strange, even more so in the offseason, to have the national media projecting, I mean, if you want to consider this projecting the Bills to win their division, it's a very fun, exciting idea of a Tom Brady-less Patriots winning the division and having a home playoff game in Buffalo.
Yeah, and they give every team 3 words, and the Bills' 3 words is really 4, but it's AFC East frontrunner. So, if nothing else, they are pegging the Bills as the AFC East frontrunner, which, all in. I mean, with this coach, this GM, this quarterback that can take another leap still, the fact is his ceiling isn't there yet. He's still got ways to go to hopefully get to a ceiling. If this is a ceiling, we'll have a conversation next July. Probably in March, but we're going to have a conversation about that. But I still think after last year, there's room to grow. And I won't be happy. I'm just being a stickler now. I'm not going to be happy with him until I see that maturation process go a little further.
David, what do you think about this all? Do you put a lot of stock into the power rankings? Do you think it's just kind of a fun thing to get excited about? Or do you really think that it is the national media shifting its expectations, A, and its optimism, B, with the Buffalo Bills?
Well, I think, first off, ESPN's looking for something, anything right now to get people talking because they have nothing. Second off, no, it's obviously exciting. The Bills, I mean, look around the AFC, and I really challenge you to name 4 teams better than the Buffalo Bills right now. And you only need 4 teams to get a home playoff game. But, I mean, there's a lot to take in here. The Bills have to stay healthy. They were really healthy this year. That's going to be a lot to do with 2 years in a row. The Bills have a tough schedule, but they really have the AFC East kind of on the downswing right now. The Bills, this is their time to shine, like Zach was saying. But anyways, you look at around the AFC, I think the AFC North is still very tough. The Bills are alone in the AFC East. I think the Chiefs are still the kings of the West. In the South, I think the Colts are going to kind of dominate out there, even though the Titans are what they are. But I think the Bills, just all they need to do is win the division. You don't have to do too much. Just win your games in the division that you should win, and then everything's going to work itself out. So is it okay to get excited about this? Yes.
And it's going to be
still a lot of time.
Sorry, Dave. And it's going to be very telling on how the Buffalo Bills are going to parlay all these offseason moves into actual results on the field. I mean, you're playing the Kansas City Chiefs. You're playing the Los Angeles Chargers, the Rams, the Seahawks. You're playing all these really great teams. You're playing the Tennessee Titans even. You're playing both those teams in the AFC that are slotted in front of you in these power rankings. It's going to be very interesting to see where the Buffalo Bills stack up, because everyone in the national media was like, where are those statement wins? Well, there's a possibility that we're going to have a lot of them next year. San Francisco 49ers, Tennessee Titans, Arizona
Chiefs,
Cardinals.
Rams.
Exactly.
I mean, you play the four last Super Bowl appearance havers. You're going to be playing against them. If there's ever a time to show whether you're worth it or not, it's right now when you're playing the Chiefs, Rams. I mean, whatever. You're going to hopefully beat the shit out of the Patriots for the next 5 years or whatever it takes. But, you got to play against these teams. Play them tough. You got to go against the team that was in the AFC Championship last year with the Titans. Like, you definitely don't have a cakewalk of a schedule this year. But a good team, a team that loses the Ravens a year ago by a touchdown and the Patriots twice by less than a touchdown, you're going to need to step it up, take a next step, and beat those one-touchdown losses games, make those wins. Let's see where it lies. Maybe, just saying maybe, not making a prediction. Maybe we're looking at a 17-0, 16-0 Buffalo Bills for the next. I'm just saying it might happen just out of the fact that if they can turn those one score losses into wins, those are all wins then.
Because
they never got blown out.
Our worst loss was against the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, which I just don't know what happened there.
I just don't think we were in it.
It was cold, it was rainy. I don't know what excuse you want.
Exactly. And just off the top question, I'm going to ask both of you guys. We had a decent amount of primetime games, something that we're not accustomed to as Bills fans. I think that this Buffalo Bills team is very primetime friendly this year. Let's do over-under on 4.5 primetime games.
I'll go under.
Well, that's actually, if you look at the schedule, it's probably going to be about 4 because there's going to be some 4:30 games on there with the teams we're playing. And I don't know, do you consider 4:30 primetime? I don't know.
Nope. No, certainly not.
I think the schedule is going to be. I think we're going to have more later games than we do 1:00 games this year. That's my prediction.
I think that just goes by the time zone, but I'm strictly talking about Thursday night, Sunday night, Monday night.
The Raiders are playing their game in Vegas if it goes on as planned. The Bills could be playing Week 1 Monday Night Football. There's always 2 games Monday night. The Bills will probably get a home primetime game in there somewhere, and they'll probably get like a Thursday night game. So the Bills are going to be. It's going to be a fun year.
That'd honestly be terrible. The Raiders always play the late Monday night game. If I have to wait for football all of Sunday and then a whole nother Monday night game to wait for the Bills to play, I will be pulling my hair out. I honestly will be. I think 4 is the appropriate number.
I will be pulling my hair out too.
You don't have much left.
Oh no,
that's a joke. I understand, Dave. Listen, I get it, but I think the Kansas City Chiefs at home. I think that's a primetime game. You got the Super Bowl champions going against an up and coming Bills team. I think that's a primetime game. I think you could look at Steelers.
Maybe Patriots. Imagine Patriots at home.
See, I don't think the Patriots draw anymore.
Patriots aren't getting shit. They don't have any draw.
But it'd be so nice on prime time.
I don't think they're drawn. Maybe a Thursday night game because they need to have one.
You guys will be seeing the Tampa Bay Bucks on primetime about 5 times this year.
Absolutely. And listen, I think they got 3 primetime games. But then I think Diggs brings a 4th game to you. I think Stephon Diggs gives you a 4th primetime game. And I still think the Rams could be a game. I think they might have 2 home primetime games. This is going to be a great home schedule. Great home schedule for the resellers. Start buying your tickets now, but wait for me to get them first and post them.
Let's hope our home record isn't indicative of last year as well. 2 years ago, and that was the first year I've ever had season tickets, I think we lost 1 game at home, and that was to the Saints where we got blown out. I don't want that last year to be indicative of our home experience in Buffalo.
Yeah, I think... Yeah, I get what you're saying. I think it's tough to have home games, lose them, but I just want you to win more games than you lose. That's all I care about at the end of the day.
Touche.
Especially with this division going on right now. I think 9 wins with this division, you should be looking a little pretty with the schedule because they all have the same schedule for the most part. I think you got to beat the Jets, you got to beat the Patriots, you got to beat the Dolphins.
Can you imagine the Jets playing these teams? They're gonna get smashed by the Chiefs.
Yeah, the Jets are looking rough.
Hey guys, here's a question for you.
Here's an
So
answer.
say the way the schedule is and the way the hype is and the way the AFC is shaping up to be. And I know it's early and it's premature, and I hate talking about premature things, but if the Bills don't make the playoffs, what happens?
Well, we're not even talking about that.
Okay, I'll play with it a little bit. But, like, why? Why don't they make the playoffs? Is it bad quarterbacking? Is it bad defense? What do you got?
Well, I mean, what difference does it make? They're not in the playoffs. So what moves need to be made?
Bad quarterback.
See, okay, so let's say it's bad quarterback play. Then everyone bitches and moans they didn't bring in Cam Newton. I think it's that simple. Whatever it is, people are just going to want to... Because I don't think people are going to want the GM out no matter what. I think these guys have been able... Now, I've been these guys, hitched their anchor to Josh Allen. I've been like that since day one. But I think they've done enough corresponding moves that maybe... Hey, we got this guy Stephon Diggs, John Brown, Cole Beasley. We drafted him a rookie, we drafted him a lineman. We drafted him running backs. We got him tight ends. We've done everything we could for this guy. Let's go get another one. In that scenario, I think they've earned the benefit to maybe go get another quarterback, which is tough. But,
Like, listen, the defense is going to be good. Defense is going to stay top 5. Nothing's going to change that defense. The defense only got better, in my opinion. The offense still has some holes. I still think we need someone opposite Singletary. And the offensive line needs the continuity to stay together for a little bit. Tyler Kroft is still what he is at tight end. And we still have Knox, who needs time to grow. But our offense has the ability on paper to be top 5, too.
So
We just need we need confidence in our quarterback, and we need a steady run game, which we didn't have last year. And I talked about that.
Yeah,
So, I mean, there are some holes to fill still. So we still have some exciting draft talk to do. I guess that's my way to wrap it up. And the defense isn't going anywhere, guys. Our defense is still scary as shit. And I emphasize the word shit.
David, do you know what was interesting? Steve Smith was on, I think it was NFL Network, and I might put the audio in here, depending on how wild I get, at 2 o'clock in the morning tonight. But basically, he was talking about how big this is going to be for the Buffalo Bills. But there is going to be that process, especially with the possibility of a shortened offseason, that those guys are going to have to kind of get chemistry with each other. I mean, Stephon Diggs is a special player, yes, but a lot of his routes are down the field, which you are going to have that chemistry to be able to complete those passes, especially with Josh Allen struggling to throw the deep ball last year. I'm going to need Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs to throw 100 balls to each other at least a day at minimum.
Yeah, and that's the other, real quick, that's the thing that kind of scares me about everything, because I don't want excuses like people in the offseason saying Josh Allen didn't have time to build chemistry with Diggs, or he's rusty because he was in his isolation and all that. I don't want that excuse. I don't think chemistry takes long to build, and they will do it. Training camp is the perfect time for that.
But
if training camp happens.
But I think that's going to be a thing all around the league. I don't think it's just going to be a Josh Allen thing. I think we'll see that around the league, where maybe the first 4 games of the season, they're going to look like preseason games.
Tom Brady, Mike Evans, Kyler Murray, DeAndre Hopkins. There's a lot of new faces and new places, and it's going to take a while for everyone to adjust, honestly.
I mean, imagine Tua going to the Dolphins. I mean, he's going to any rookie quarterback's going to have to
My
build
barber's going to be playing wide receiver for the Jets, so, you kind of have to, consider what Sam Darnold's going to have to throw to.
Can we just talk about how much we miss our barbers?
I Instagram messaged him the other day.
Supercuts is open.
He's not doing it.
I don't know, guys. Supercuts isn't open. I'm going to have my mom shave my head.
When was the last time you were at Supercuts?
All right, guys. Jake, take us home.
Well, you're done talking?
We're done.
All right.
Wrap it up.
Thank you guys for listening to another episode of one of the only Buffalo Bills podcasts that matters. I know that we got some flack, but...
Let us know what comments you want. What topics you guys want to talk about.
Yeah, Dave always wants comments, so please leave him a comment, stroke his ego a little bit. Say you miss him, say you want to see his beautiful face, or you never want to see him again. hit that subscribe button. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram. Find us on anywhere where you can stream a podcast. And Buffalo Bills fans, please stay safe, wash your hands, and remain 6 feet from each other. We love you all. Have a good one.